Good morning, friends. Um, just a little noodling there. Hope you don't mind. I get some complaints from time to time, people saying, hey, just, 30 seconds in and out. I'm like, well, I do that on some of the shows, and some of the shows I just noodle. Usually I try to start right at the top of the hour, so if I start early, then, if I start 20 minutes early, expect 20 minutes of playing up front, because I usually do start at the top of the hour. Hey, welcome, my friend. Joe's Teka from Finland, who was our guest yesterday. Our second guest. We actually had two from Finland. What are the odds? It's a crazy thing. So it made, again, for a long episode. Had someone else complain about that. It's like, hey, just consider it a bonus episode. Just listen to the 1 hour and then listen to the other hour. Split in half if you like. That'd give you 3 straight episodes. Anyway, good morning, folks. I'm glad you're here with me this morning. We're just going to do, again, a quick... a little spot here from Proverbs, as we usually do on our early Sunday morning. And it was an amazing interview with both guests. Very eye-opening. And, certainly... Again, it always touches me. This is why I wanted to share these things with you. When I started receiving information from people, and I say information, that was the original intent for what became known as the Awakening Project. But eventually, part of that was I get a lot of information from the way in which people, the way that they tell me things, right? Because the way that we generate memories, it's not just what happens to us. It's not just through our senses. It's the way that we assign value to it. So human beings have a tendency to experience the world in a narrative. We're sort of the star in our own movie, if you will, and we become the central character. And so we perceive the world in a kind of understanding that is presented by the narrative. What does it mean to us? What is its meaning? And often this is presented by the emotions that we attach to it. And so we're much more likely to lay down a memory of something based on the emotion that we attach to it and what it means to us. And this is partly why music can have such a powerful emotive response, not just the sound of it, but the memories that we attach to it. If it becomes a song that's particularly special to us, you can hear the first few strains of that music and immediately be thrown into the emotional situation and recall smells and tastes and the feelings in every single moment of an event that from which you laid down that memory that became important to you. Smells can do it on their own, too. The smell of bread cooking, for example, is a powerful one for me. My mom used to bake bread all the time, and so it smelled like home to me. So when I have a particular smell of wheat bread coming out of the oven, it takes me back to my childhood and my mom baking bread fresh every day when I would come home from school. It's just something that she did. So but when people begin to tell me their stories, it really impacted me in a really deep and meaningful way. And in part, it helped me understand the quality of the people who have responded to this project, who wanted to become a part of it and better understand what it is they've done to us and why some people awaken and some people do not. And I had a premise about that. I think it's largely been shown so far. I'll be sharing more of those results as it took on a life of its own, obviously. And so it's taken me a little more time to comb through it. But as I do, again, the quality of people and how transparent and how vulnerable they are in telling their stories and how meaningful this entire act of awakening is for those to whom it happens. It changes fundamentally your worldview and everything around you and the way you see things, the way you relate to other people. It is not... Hey, Nachikita, welcome. It is not simply like an app, right, that you would plug into your phone. It's an entire change of operating system. It changes the world completely for how you view it and how you operate within it. And so the other thing that I found, and it came out very clearly in our interviews yesterday, was how isolated people feel. I mean, again, what are the odds that two people I'd be talking to from Finland, around the same age, and both involved in the music business at one point, but kind of no longer. So there was a little bit of confusion, right? Because we'd all been talking about, the same period of time, trying to get something set up. And so it just turned out, it was, again, fascinating. But again, both feeling very isolated and alone, even in a country of just about, not quite 7 million people. So how easily we can feel isolated and alone. And very few people, and I know that there are some with whom I'm in contact who their significant other or their spouse or people in their family or their kids are awakening. And kudos and congratulations to you. It's you're blessed because so many people do not have that. I hear from so many people how desperate they are for companionship and how hard it is for them when their spouse or significant other or family members not only do not accept their worldview but are violently opposed to it and call them crazy and make all kinds of again terrible accusations. It's pretty difficult, right? And so so many people feel isolated and alone. So if you do know people around you, especially those who are within your close companionship, your family, your significant other, recognize how blessed you are in that, because not everyone does. But certainly I notice that people, as many of us as there seem to be these days, that are waking up and seeing things in a different way, we all still feel very, very separated from one another. And so that was, again, one of the ideations for this channel is to better facilitate, if possible, that sense of community amongst people. And I'm so absolutely delighted that seems to have been the case, at least in part, is that everyone who comes here begins to interact with one another in a side chat, and in fact, offline and in other content creators' videos. So it's both remarkable and delightful to me to see that kind of thing happening. As the more we talk, the more interested people get into tribing up, sort of, right? Finding a place that we can get together and all be as one. I would love that. I'm looking very seriously at that and talking to several people about that exact thing, and where and how and who and what's involved in that. So we'll keep talking. Again, I think the time for action is soon. Anyone know what happened with the red fox or where he is? Well, I just found out yesterday that he'd taken his channel down. He and I have been in communication, as you know, for a while. And I knew right away when he said he was going to stop broadcasting or putting out content. He gave me just enough information. Again, I'm not going to say too much because he was very clearly upset about it and didn't want to go into too much, and so I'm going to respect that. But he had some things, happen that set him back, and he decided it was not worth, at this time, the risks to continue to dive deeply and put out things that might cause problems. So I'll just leave it there. I'm sure at some point he will come back and speak of the whole thing, but that's for him to do. And I think we're all certainly pulling for and with him in that. Red is a terrific guy and very thoughtful and well-spoken, as you know. So we're all pulling for him. I would just say at this time, probably best thing is don't bug him too much. If you have his contact information, just give him a little space, and because I know he feels something of a responsibility to try to answer people as best he can, and yet it exacerbates the problem. So I would just say give him some space, let him work things out, and he's all right insofar as I know at this point. But again, he just needs a little time to work some stuff out, and so. There that is. But I appreciate people asking about him. He's a great guy, and I like him a good deal. I hear my wife in the kitchen. She's doing something in there. All right. So we have, let's see, we're going to continue and pick up with Proverbs, as we do in Ancient Wisdom so far. So again, the idea of the Proverbs challenge, right, is something along the effect of, if you're unfamiliar with Scripture, or you've been set back by it, or you're interested in it, or again, a lot of people say where to start, and many people will start right at the beginning, which is super great. The book of Genesis, describing the creation story and how we got here and the deluge, and that's one of the oldest stories in history, right? The oldest recorded that we know of above. Again, everything they tell us seems pretty much a lie, so it's difficult to really tease out exactly what's going on. But we're told that the oldest account is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which includes those exact same items, the story of paradise and the fall by eating a forbidden food of some kind that offered wisdom, but also gave away the farm, so to speak, and then the deluge and its impact and what happened thereafter. A lot of corollary stuff. So there's you can certainly go that direction. Many people say start with the Gospels, which is the story told 4 different ways of the birth, life, ministry, and death of Jesus. Yeshua, if you're big into that. I think he knows who he is, so you call somebody, Jose or Joe or whatever. I think he'll respond to it. So you can start there. There are other, again, keep in mind that there's a lot of it that's history. There's some poetry. There's some other, interesting stuff, guides for life. And much of it is set in a context that we don't currently live in, right? The cultural context is very different. Lots of references and allusions to agrarian society, and especially sheep herding, which at the time, tribal people did, but many of the quote unquote civilized people of that world considered that the lowest of the low. You were couldn't be any lower if you were a sheep herder. That was the crap job, and so give you a little context there where all that is at. And so, hey Sue, welcome. Again, welcome to everybody that's here. Karen B., Kelly, Effie, Mojo, Doc, Michael, Nachakita, Winston. Love to have you guys here. All the usual suspects. This is Zal, Jonathan, Ordinary Bear. Try to, Building Tano. Try to get to everybody, but obviously I am not able to concentrate on the chat. I try to catch it as it comes by. All right. So anyway, I often recommend to people, whatever your beliefs are, even if you have none, check out the book of Proverbs. It's kind of right in the middle of the whole thing, the canonized Bible of 66 books, and it is full of great wisdom. There is some stuff that's, again, focused directly on the Creator, but even if you ignore those things, I think you'll find that there is a good deal of wisdom that's contained within the 31 chapters of Proverbs. And being that there are 31 chapters and some months have 31 days, you can take one chapter for each day and read it. And that's my challenge, is basically go 3 months and every day read the Proverbs of the day. First thing in the morning, if you can, because it does kind of fuel you for the day, gives you preparation for the day and what's going on. So today being the 9th, we'll of course do the 9th, but Winston asked me if I would do the 8th as well, and I said absolutely, I'd be happy to do that. Let me get a taste of this freaking delicious coffee here. I hope you have some too, some coffee or whatever your drink of choice is. It's part of the brown food group. Steak, chocolate, coffee. Get all those enes in, right? You got the caffeine and nicotine and heroin. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So let's take a look here. We'll go into Proverbs 8. And I'll do as I often do from a couple of different translations and give you a different look. So we'll begin here. Let's see. I'll get, let me get a little bit of this going for you. A little bit of background music here to set the mood. Does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift her voice? On the topmost heights along the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Beside the gates leading into the city, at the entrance, she cries aloud, "To you, O men, I call out. My call is to all mankind. O naive ones, learn prudence. Fools, gain understanding. Listen, for I speak excellent things, and my lips utter right things. For my mouth speaks truth, and my lips detest wickedness. All the words of my mouth are righteous. Nothing in them is perverse or crooked. All of them are straightforward to the discerning, and right to those who find knowledge. Receive my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than jewels. Nothing you desire compares with her. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and acquire knowledge with discretion. To love Adonai is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, evil behavior, and a perverse mouth. Counsel and sound wisdom are mine. I have understanding and power. Counsel and sound wisdom are mine. I have understanding and power. By me kings reign and princes decree justice. By me princes govern and all nobles who judge righteously. I love those who love me, those who earnestly seek me to find me. With me are wealth and honor, enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than refined gold, my harvest better than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness, along paths of justice. I endow substance to those who love me and fill their treasuries. Adonai brought me forth, the first of his way, before his works of old. From eternity I was appointed from the beginning, before the world began. When there were no depths, I was brought forth, when there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were shaped, before the hills, I was brought forth. He had not yet made the land, the fields, or the first dust of the earth. When he set the heavens in place, I was there. When he inscribed the horizon on the face of the ocean. When he established the skies above, when he securely fixed the fountains of the deep. When he set the boundaries for the sea, so that the waters never transgress his command, when he laid out earth's foundations. Then I was the craftsman beside him. I was his daily delight, always rejoicing before him, rejoicing in his whole world, and delighting in mankind. So now, children, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. Heed discipline and be wise, and do not neglect it. Blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at my doorposts. For whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from Adonai. But whoever fails to find me harms his life. All who hate me love death. That is the 8th chapter of Proverbs. I think you can immediately see in there some really interesting stuff for those of you who have questioned, and I think rightly so, the nature of the story we're told regarding cosmology and the nature of the world in which we live. There is a good deal of stuff here that's I find fascinating. It says that wisdom existed again before all the creations, his old works. And I am always fascinated by things that deal with water. I've been spending a couple of years just digging deep, if you will, with the study of water. It's a fascinating thing, and defies most of our understanding of chemistry. And this is part of why I believe that chemistry is misdescribed. I believe it is all frequency and vibration. But the fountains, the waters above and the waters beneath, and these things, these ideas and concepts, and considering that instead of a sky vacuum, we may have indeed fluid. And so when you see this sort of stuff, again, I find it fascinating. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were shaped, before the hills, I was brought forth. He had not yet made the land, the fields, or the first dust of the earth. When he set the heavens in place, I was there. When he inscribed the horizon on the face of the ocean. Again, one of the things that we know is that water finds its own level and creates a horizon that rises to eye level. So it's, again, more just more confirmation. When he established the skies above, when he securely fixed the fountains of the deep, not spinning around in space. When he set the boundaries for the seas, that the waters never transgressed his command. He laid out Earth's foundations. Again, you have the idea of a foundation. Good morning, Cammie. Welcome. Again, there has been speculation about there being, an ice wall, or at least a pond in which we sit, and this idea of the boundaries for the sea. It's not the first or only reference to that within the book of Proverbs, nor Scripture as a whole. Anyway, we'll take a look then I'll continue on into 9, and then we'll take a look at another translation of these, and we'll just kind of run those together. So beginning again, today would be Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom has built her house. She has carved out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also set her table. She has sent out her servant girls. She calls from the city's heights, "Whoever is naive, turn in here." To those who lack understanding, she says, "Come, eat my bread and drink the wine I have mixed." I get the sense that our vegan friends wouldn't like the slaughtering of animals, but nevertheless, let's see, find. Get a little bit of that there. All right. And so again, there's another scripture that says, "For anyone who lacks wisdom, simply let him ask." I have found this to be true, that if you ask Dad for whatever you need with the right intention, he is quick to answer. If you say, "Give me a Ferrari," well, maybe not, because again, what's the intention there? But if you ask for wisdom and understanding, I think you will find it. "Come eat my bread and drink the wine I have mixed. Abandon your foolish ways and live. Walk in the way of understanding." Whoever corrects a scoffer is asking for insult. Whoever reproves a wicked man, gets abuse. I think you find that pretty quickly if you just take a look at social media. Right? I don't think Solomon ever anticipated what social media would look like, and yet again, his insight into the nature of man is prescient, certainly, that if you try to tell someone the truth, they want none of it. "Instruct a wise man, and he will be wiser still. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning." And again, I think you can clearly see that amongst truthlings, people who keep their eyes and mind open. They want information, and they're willing to accept new information. Crow often says, "Belief is the enemy of knowing," and I agree with that. "The fear of Adonai is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For through me your days will be many, and your years will be added to your life. If you are wise in your own advantage, but if you scoff, you bear it alone. The foolish woman is rowdy. She's naive and knows nothing. So she sits at the door of her house, on a seat in the heights of the city, calling to those who pass by, who go straight on their way, 'Whoever is naive, let him turn in here.' To those who lack understanding, she says, 'Stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is delicious.' But he does not know that the dead are there. Her guests are in the depths of Sheol." Winston asked, "Do I think that human nature has changed so much?" No, I don't think the nature has changed. I think it's on display. It's often been said that, for example, money doesn't really change people so much as it amplifies or it exposes who they are. I think that's probably correct. It simply gives you opportunity. So in this case, modern technology simply offers a means by which we can quickly and easily see people's internal behavior, right? Jesus said it's from the overflow or the abundance of a man's heart that come his works, whether for good or evil. And I think that again, is definitely true. Whatever somebody has inside of them will eventually come out. People can put on a mask for a period of time, but overall, I think that you're going to find them to expose who they are if you give them the opportunity. I've had that happen to me even this week. I was deeply disappointed and felt kind of hurt and betrayed by someone who I have trusted. I'm not going to revoke the trust. It just, it was disappointing. All right, so here's a different version. We'll jump to a different version here of Proverbs 8. Do you hear Lady Wisdom calling? Can you hear Madam Insight raising her voice? She's taken her stand at First and Main at the busiest intersection, right in the city square where the traffic is thickest. She shouts, I'm talking to all of you. Everyone out here on the streets. Listen, you idiots, learn some good sense. You blockheads, shape up. Don't miss a word of this. I'm telling you how to live well. I'm telling you how to live at your best. Living your best life right there. 3,500 years ago. My mouth chews and savors and relishes truth. I can't stand the taste of evil. You'll only hear true and right words from my mouth. Not one syllable will be twisted or skewered. You'll recognize this as true. You with open minds, truth-ready minds, will see it at once. Boy, isn't that true? That those who can see just do, and those who cannot simply can't. Prefer my life disciplines over chasing after money, and God knowledge over a lucrative career, for wisdom is better than all the trappings of wealth. Nothing you could wish for holds a candle to her. I am Lady Wisdom, and I live next to sanity. Knowledge and discretion live just down the street. The fear of God means hating evil, whose ways I hate with a passion. Pride and arrogance and crooked talk. Good counsel and common sense are my characteristics. I am both insight and virtue to live it out. With my help, leaders rule and lawmakers legislate fairly. With my help, governors govern, along with all in legitimate authority. And take that to bear that currently, from what I understand, those who are claim authority are not legitimate. But it is, because they got to complete what they got to complete. And I think Dad watches and knows all, and he allows things to happen as they're going to and as is necessary. He does not bring us evil, but he allows evil to prosper in some ways so that we can see what it is. Wisdom says, I love those who love me, and those who look for me will find me. Wealth and glory accompany me, and also substantial honor and a good name. My benefits are worth more than a big salary, even a very big salary. The returns on me exceed any imaginable bonus. You can find me on Righteous Road. That's where I walk, at the intersection of Justice Avenue, handing out life to those who would love me, filling their arms with life, armloads of it. God sovereignly made me, the first, the basic, before he did anything else. I was brought into being a long time ago, well before Earth even got its start. I arrived on the scene before the ocean, yes, before springs and rivers and lakes, before mountains were sculpted and hills took shape. I was already there, newborn. Long before God stretched out Earth's horizons and tended to the minute details of soil and weather, and set the sky firmly in place, I was there. When he mapped and gave borders to wild ocean, built the vast vault of heaven, and installed the fountains that fed the oceans, when he drew a boundary for the sea, posted a sign that said no trespassing, and then staked out Earth's foundations, I was right there with him, making sure that everything fit. Day after day I was there with my joyful applause, always enjoying his company, delighted with the world of things and creatures, happily celebrating the human family. So, my dear friends, listen carefully. Those who embrace these my ways are most blessed. Mark a life of discipline and live wisely. Don't squander your precious life. Bless the man, bless the woman who listens to me, awake and ready for me each morning, alert and responsive as I start my day's work. When you find me, you find life, real life. to say nothing of God's good pleasure. But if you wrong me, you damage your very soul. When you reject me, you're flirting with death. Lady Wisdom has built and furnished her home. It's supported by 7 hewn timbers. The banquet meal is ready to be served, lamb roasted, wine poured out, table set with silver and flowers. Having dismissed her serving maids, Lady Wisdom goes to town, stands in a prominent place, and invites everyone within the sound of her voice. Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Come with me, oh come, have dinner with me. I've prepared a wonderful spread, fresh baked bread, roast lamb, carefully selected wines. Leave your impoverished confusion and live. Walk up the street to a life with meaning. If you reason with an arrogant cynic, you'll get slapped in the face. Confront bad behavior, and you'll get kicked in the shins. So don't waste your time on a scoffer. All you'll get for your pains is abuse. But if you correct those who care about life, that's different. They'll love you for it. Save your breath for the wise. They'll be wiser for it. Tell good people what you know, and they'll profit from it. Skilled living gets its start in the fear of God. Insight into life from knowing a holy God. It's through me, Lady Wisdom, that your life deepens, and the years of your life ripen. Live wisely, and wisdom will permeate your life. Mock life, and life will mock you. Then there's this other woman, Madame Whore, brazen, empty-headed, frivolous. She sits on the front porch of her house on Main Street. As people walk by, minding their own business, she calls out, "Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Steal off with me and I'll show you a good time. No one will ever know. I'll give you the time of your life." But they don't know about all the skeletons in her closet and that all her guests end up in hell. So there we have that's our reading for the day. If you have questions, comments, you want to put something in the chat. I realize there's a little bit of a delay, but I have it on a very short delay today, so hopefully, we can get to those quickly. So hopefully it'll be, is the love of death to be understood as a fixation with death? Dark glasses, Woody, I think that there are those who fall into a cult of death, and I think there's a fascination with it that comes directly from, I guess I would say, the evil one. He delights when people end their own lives or when they end the lives of others. It simply delights in evil and makes life difficult for mankind. The way I understand it, again, he's like a jilted lover, but who is narcissistic and arrogant, and says, "If I can't have you, no one will." So if he feels mistreated and misjudged by the Lord of Hosts, and so has decided that he will try to hurt him by stealing from him what he loves, which are his children. And so this is in part why he hates and is so jealous of man, for 2 primary reasons. Well, I guess you would say 3. One is that he had given mankind the ability to create life, which the enemy does not have. He cannot create. He can only steal, destroy, and alter. This is why he keeps working for artificial intelligence, robots, this sort of DNA altering thing. I've seen it for all of history that I can tell, is that there's always been an attempt to either reanimate the dead, to create a false, fictitious form of life in some way as a mockery to the Creator himself, and also believes that man is below him. It says in Scripture that we were made a little lower than angels, and probably, again, it's true that we're not as powerful in some ways, but he made us in his image, and specifically that we were just like him. He made us like a little mini-me, and when then asked to show homage to us and to serve us as he would serve the Creator, Lucy said, "No fucking way, not going to do it," and rebelled. And that is, I'm better than him. No way. And so there's a jealousy there, and then understanding that his rebellion was ultimately going to lead to his end. Again, just my understanding. He asked, well, at least let me go until the end of all things, and Dad gave him that. And then immediately he turned around and said, I'm gonna turn them all against you. And he's playing a numbers game. You see, he thinks that the more he gets, if he gets more on his side, that he will win. And Dad said, I guess do your worst, right? People will see, everyone, all living things will see the nature of what separating yourself from perfection does. You see, and this is the nature this is the argument that the enemy brings against the Creator, is if you give us free will, and then we choose to exercise that free will by doing something other than what you ask, then that is not really free will. It's slavery. And there seems to be a legitimate argument there until you understand that being perfect and being the very definition of love, that everything the Creator wants for you is perfect, and anything other than that is ultimately death. It's not a punishment. It's simply the natural result of separating yourself from the source of power and perfection. You become imperfect. And so, put into that context, again, the enemy believes that everyone he can take away and get to suffer his fate, which is to be ended, to be destruction. And so again, I reject the idea of duality in the sense that now that there is polarity, that's certainly true. We see this in nature, but duality, in other words, the idea that Dad created evil as well. I just don't see it. There's no shadow of darkness in him whatsoever. He did create free will, knowing that it had the risk, and it had to be actually free will. It has to have the risk of that they won't love you, and ultimately this is what happened. But also he has to let it run to its end. That if you did anything other than that, the argument could be made that you ended it because they had a legitimate cause against you, and you shut them up. And so the only way to really do it is to let it run to its ultimate end. And this is why we're in the state that we're in. But ultimately, when Dad said, don't touch that fruit, don't eat it, and the day you do, you'll surely die. Right? The lie wasn't that you would be like God, knowing good from evil, because that actually happened. And it turned us into our own God. And so we judge things around us. So we become our own God in this world. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. We justify everything that we do, and we set ourselves up as God, to the point that we even judge the Creator and say, well, if a loving God would allow children to die of cancer, right, then I can't serve that God. But again, without all the information, without the context and understanding, you can never really fully understand why. And that is why I always recommend to people, if you want to know, just get to know him. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Even the Bible, in my opinion, is simply it's an opportunity. It's an invitation, a calling card. Get to know me, and come to understand me, and get into relationship. Once you get to know who he is, you will better understand that he is perfection and love. That's my experience. But I do recommend for anybody, if you want to know, just ask him. Get to know the Creator, and all things will become known to you in time that you ask. I mean, you may not know all the secrets to the universe in one swell swoop, because you probably wouldn't understand it. I know that's true for me. And most of my experience with Dad is simply that he wants me to turn me into the person that he had created before everything went wrong. So much of it isn't about learning all these dark secrets. It really is understanding the dark secrets of my heart, and to become healed of all the things that hurt. And for me to be able to receive and then better express love. That seems to be the primary and central theme of my relationship with Dad altogether, is that he wants to make me into who he had intended. And the reason that things become difficult is that I don't want to let go, right, of the things that I built, right, all my unhealthy coping mechanisms. Anyway, so let's see here. I'm trying to get scroll back up. I noticed that there was an earthquake there in the East Coast, where a lot of people are starting to tribe up over there. I'm very kind of jealous of you guys getting all together in one place. That would be super awesome. Let's see here if I can find anything in Scripture. Yeah, the DUMBs, you guys mentioned that, the Deep Underground Military Base. I do find that particularly interesting because, let's see here, what's that? I think it's here, and it's in, I want to say it's Revelation 8, but let's see here. No, let's go back here. I think it is probably uh, 6. Let's see. And the kings of the Revelation 6, starting with verse 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men. And then let's switch over to a different version here. I think I want to choose here. Again, verse 15, the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else hid in caves and among rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it? Very interesting that they chose to say they were going to go underground. Seems, again, pretty interesting. Let's see. Anything else? You guys have anything in chat you want to touch on before we wrap it? Again, usually it's a pretty mighty mouse, right? All right. So if you guys got anything you want to have share or have me comment on before we go, we'll do that. And then otherwise, I will set you free. And then I'll be back again this evening at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central for Sola Scriptura. I don't know if Wayne is joining me today or not. I think it's his off week, but he did indicate that he might be able to make it. So we'll see what happens. Thanks, Singe, man. Yeah, right. People with their religion. Yeah. I saw a meme this week. Again, it just shows there's a scripture that says that those who consider themselves wise are fools in God's eyes, and those who are foolish for God become wise. And I saw a meme, right? Well, it was actually not just a meme. It was actually a news article, which pointed out somebody, and I won't say who, I don't like to attack people or whatever, but there was a female televangelist who's very well known, JM, I'll give those initials, and she had said something which generally I agree with the sentiment. I don't really support televangelists. I'm suspicious of everyone, but the content was fairly accurate, which is basically the idea that if you begin to try to intellectualize and treat a relationship with God as an intellectual exercise, that you will begin to fall away. It requires, it's a matter of the heart. Right, what she did not say, right, specifically about relationship, but it is a matter of the heart. But the article basically said, oh, so you turn off your brain and be dumb. It's like you're missing the point. How would you describe your love relationship with your spouse? Is that an intellectual exercise? If it is, you're going to not be married very long, right? How do you describe the nature of the heart? And what to make of that? These are relationship issues. It's a matter of love. And if you do try to figure out something and someone who is so far beyond you, you're going to get lost, and you can only go as far as your understanding will allow you to comprehend, which frankly isn't very far, and so you will stumble. But if you get into a relationship and allow the Spirit of the Creator to speak to your heart directly, you will better understand. And that's so the sentiment is correct. There are gatherings in October. Is that the thing? Yeah, I don't know if I of course I would love to. I just don't know if I'll be able to because my schedule is such a short. How about some noodling? Oh, maybe. I did some at the beginning. Well, it's maybe on the way out. Rats above the ceiling? How do you sleep, Nachigita? Oh dear. Sure. I'll do a little more noodling on the way out, and Yes, we will. Mojo Shop. Yes, I have you on my list to give a call later. Real quickly in the chat, do you prefer midday or after the late show? Not really a show, but the 5 p.m. stream usually goes about an hour and a half, something like that. So it'd be this evening around 7 or 8 p.m. Pacific time, or I could try to get it in midday. So just tell me which one's better for you, and we'll connect. That's possible, Dawn. That is the case. It was about 10 minutes prior, but I usually start at the top of the hour, right, with the stream. So when I noodle, I usually begin that a little earlier. So it was starting at about 10 to the top of the hour. That's usually how I roll. Okay, anytime. Sounds good. We'll see how it works out with my lovely bride. She always has her stuff, and I always give her equal time or better. Yeah, right. Cool. A day at the lake. I'm kind of jealous. That sounds really delightful. Is there a bad time to talk to Baldini? Well, I don't know, when I'm asleep. Yeah, you won't get much out of me then, although I have been known to carry on completely lucid conversations and be completely asleep and never remember it. But okay, Mojo. Sounds terrific. I'm definitely looking forward to it, so I just wanted to see what is better for you. Oh, God, that's so good. All right, guys. Again, thanks for joining me this morning. I will just take a moment. If you're okay with it, if you're not, you can just simply run away. But let me do this real quick. I want to give some of that. And if you're okay with it, I will just, here's what I want to say. Just take a moment and say, Dad, thank you so much for the opportunity to spend time with your kids and with those who are seeking truth and wisdom. And I know that many of them don't know your name or have not spent a lot of time with you, but they see your creation, they see the things you've made, and they understand that we are a creation. And I know that many want to connect with you better. And so, as your friend and as a child who loves you, I would consider it an honor and with great gratitude if I would just petition that you spend time with my friends today in a powerful way, so that they will know that you are there and they will sense your presence and begin to better hear you. And so that's my request today, Dad, that you would just open your arms. I know that you do. You love them fully, irrespective of what I say. But it would be my hope and desire, and a sense of the love that you've given to me, that I would want to share that with others. And so I would just ask that you specifically touch each person who's here today in the way that they individually need it, that you offer companionship or comfort or encouragement or joy, whatever is needed in the moment, that it occurs today in a powerful way such that they immediately know and sense that it is you. And I thank you so much for touching my heart and for changing me and making me closer to who you would have. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. Guys, love you sincerely, and we'll talk to you again soon. For Dawn, I will play a little something. I don't know. I never know what it's going to be until I start doing it, but I'll do a little noodling on the way out. So again, I hope to see you back this evening at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, and 8 Eastern. And then again, Tuesday and Thursday morning at 6 o'clock for the Poppycock Report with Rose 777 on her channel. Thanks, guys.